Good afternoon. I'm Brandon Abbott, your host for this month's edition of Life Out Loud. Today, I'm at Turrentine Middle School to speak with Chad Laws, the school resource officer, about the important role he plays in the public school system. Let's go inside now and see what we can learn. Officer Laws, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thanks for having me. It's my pleasure.
First off, for those who don't know, what is a school resource officer?
A school resource officer is basically a law enforcement officer that works on a school campus. And so we have three main roles. We're first and foremost a law enforcement officer on our campuses and in our school community. But we also serve as a law-related counselor. We do a lot of conferencing with students and their families. And we also serve as a law-related educator, which actually involves going into classrooms and teaching students about the different types of laws and that may apply to them not just now but also in the future. I am involved in teaching our DARE program, which is the Drug Abuse Resistance Education Program for 7th grade students. I teach the reinforcement curriculum for that grade level. Most students have DARE in 5th grade, and where they receive the base curriculum or information, and then we do a reinforcement of that curriculum in 7th grade to help to keep those skills that they're learning in DARE fresh in their mind, and also add some new skills and techniques that they can use when they're in middle school and as they get older.
What types of behaviors do you see that require your involvement?
I'm involved in a lot of different types of behavior issues that students have on campus. Sometimes I may get involved when they're being disruptive in their classrooms or other areas on campus. Sometimes when they're being disrespectful, and obviously I'm involved in if they have a fight or there's an assault or something like that takes place, as well as if students bring things on campus that they're not supposed to have, such as weapons or drugs or maybe some other type of contraband. Those are all types of situations where I would become involved.
Speaking of bad behavior, what constitutes bullying?
Bullying is basically unwanted, aggressive type of behavior between typically students on school campuses, or it could be happening outside of school. Bullying can take on many different forms, but there's a couple of things that have to happen for it to constitute bullying. One is there has to be some type of imbalance of power between the two individuals, and the other is there has to be a repetition or the potential for the behavior to be repeated more than one time. And so, as I mentioned, bullying can take on different types of forms. There's basically three different types. It could be verbal bullying, where the individual is taunting or name-calling or threatening another individual verbally. There could be social bullying, where an individual starts rumors about another individual and then starts spreading those rumors around campus or other places. And then it can take on a physical type of behavior as well, or characteristic, where it could be pushing, hitting, kicking, things like that, over repeated, happening more than one time, I should say. Or it has the potential to happen more than once. So that would constitute bullying.
With the influx of different forms of social media, have you noticed an increase of cyberbullying?
Yes, we've certainly noticed an increase of cyberbullying with the different types of social media applications, Facebook, Instagram, and those types of applications. But also, with so many students having cell phones these days, we're definitely seeing an increase in the use of those phones for cyberbullying. And so one of the things we try to do in terms of educating students as well as their parents is to let them know that what they're putting out there on the internet is going to be there for a long time. Once you put something out there, it's very hard to take it back, because people can download that information, they can save it to whatever drive they want to save it to, and then that information can be brought back to the surface, so to speak, later on down the road. So if we're trying to get students to realize their full potential later in life, we want them to make smart choices early on so that they don't have problems becoming successful later on down the road when they're trying to get a good job or go to college. We don't want them to have things like this out there about them or where they have spread rumors about someone else that could come up later down the road and maybe hinder them from realizing their full potential.
What are some of the consequences a student faces when they do something wrong? Not just in the immediate future, but long term.
There are certainly, for school behaviors, school consequences that it's handled by the school officials, school administrators, but also there are different types of behavior where I, as a school resource officer, have to get involved. And so not only does the student have school consequences, they also have consequences through the justice system, where I may have to take action and refer them to either juvenile court or adult court, or maybe even one of our diversion programs such as teen court. Teen court is a great diversion program that we have being offered here in Alamance County. And a lot of our resource officers, including me, use this as a diversion program. So it allows us the opportunity to refer a student who has made a poor choice, made a bad decision, and they've gotten themselves into trouble. It allows us the opportunity to refer them to that diversion program so that we don't have to, say, petition them to juvenile court or maybe file charges for them in adult court. And this is really plays an integral role as they grow older and they're trying to achieve that full potential. We don't want them, if at all possible, to have a criminal record. So utilizing the teen court program helps us to still have some consequences for that individual, but it also allows them to not have a criminal record that's going to follow them years down the road. And it also gives them an opportunity to learn a lot from that experience because not only do they have to have their case heard by a jury of their peers, they also have to typically serve as a juror for future cases. And so there's a lot of opportunities for them to learn from that one experience and hopefully not have any repeat offenses.
And finally, could you tell us about Campus Crime Stoppers? How does it work?
Sure. The Campus Crime Stoppers program is something I think is a great program. It is a way for students to give us information, give law enforcement information, and provide tips about crimes that are occurring either on their campus, school campus, or maybe in their neighborhood. And it allows us to receive that information and then take that and move forward with our investigations. And so there's two neat things about this program that a lot of people don't know. One is you don't have to reveal your identity. So students can give information but do it anonymously. And then the other thing that's a really rewarding part of the program is if the information pans out to help us clear a case or to solve a crime, then the student can then receive a cash reward for that information. And I've had students here at Turrentine Middle School to receive rewards anywhere from $50 to $75, and that's a lot of money for a middle school student.
That's awesome. Thanks again for joining us today, Officer Loss.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Well, gang, that wraps up another installment of Life Out Loud. Hope you found it educational. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.